So it's 10:31, so we'll get started. Thanks everybody for joining. Melanie and Rich were both unable to make it today, so I will be running us through this morning's meeting. Everybody online can hear us okay?
Yes,
I can hear you.
So we'll do some quick introductions, just to get everybody on the attendance sheet. So Lindsay Button, Transportation Planner with MAPA. Just kind of go around the circle. Director of Civil Rights.
$100 and I'm only the corridor.
Hannah Barker, City of Bellevue.
There's two.
Oh, yeah. Online, we'll start with Kaylee. Or Donna, go ahead.
Yep, Donna Montpelier, City of Papillion.
I messed it up. Someone was ready to introduce and I overwrote.
Kaylee, City of La Vista.
Can we not hear?
Yeah, but people are talking, I can't hear anything.
Can't hear you, so hold, please. I'm trying to get that next.
Ann Erickson, Florence Home.
Click on it and see if we're hearing anything. Like test the, if you click on the.
Parkland will split.
Yeah, we're not hearing anything.
Caleb Broderson, City of La Vista.
Donna Montpelier, City of Papillion.
I mean, it would be coming from the computer.
Oh, I'll get something there.
It's like coming from in here.
Oh,
That's
wow,
not what we want. They're a different speaker.
probably. Like this perhaps, or maybe. Like, I should make that noise when I do that, but.
What the conferencing speaker thing? Or something one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do the other one. This one. Don't actually make it sound. Well.
Try the echo.
Which one?
One on the very bottom, the terrace. I think that's.
Oh. Oh, I can't even test that one. No.
Just for our guest online, I think at the MAPA boardroom, they are not able to hear us, but we can hear each other.
Why can't
So-
we hear it?
We're just testing to see if they can hear us in the boardroom there.
Alright, go back to the one that at least gave us,
In there?
I don't either, but.
Oh, well, then we have to change it on Zoom too. I guess we can see if that comes through. Hang on a sec. Which one
Or
is it?
could you hear me?
No. This one. All right, somebody say something.
Can you hear me?
Kind
Can you
of,
hear
Kind
me,
of.
Leslie?
yeah.
The room
Thank you.
speakers don't seem to be working, but it's coming from the computer in the side room.
But we can hear you perfectly clear online. You just can't hear us. So maybe we
Correct.
just ask people to write in today while we determine and figure out how to do this so we can get back on track and back on schedule.
We have to.
Oh, now it works?
Yeah.
All right, hang on, we might actually have it.
Okay. Could you hear me now?
Yay, perfect. Fixed it.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for everyone's patience.
Okay, so let's try that again. We'll go through introductions for those online. With whoever.
It's Tina Murray from Together.
Thanks, Dina.
Haley Stanley from City of La Vista.
Thanks, Kaylee.
Donna Montpelier, City of Papillion.
Excellent.
Ann Erickson, Florence Home.
Thank you, Ann. Okay,
Caleb Broderson, City of La Vista.
is that everybody on that?
Sam Hooper, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce.
We just have somebody's joining right now.
I think we just had Melanie join us as well from Melanie Peterson. I think she was joining for Rich. Is that right, Melanie?
I'm here.
Perfect, welcome Melanie.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think that's everyone we've got online. Thanks guys for bearing with us with that audio issue, but we seem to have everything fixed out now. Okay, so first order of business is approval of the minutes from the September 17th, 2025 meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those minutes? And Court, I'm assuming we have quorum. I think it's only 5, right? And people online are allowed to vote now, so.
That's right, yeah. Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so we do have quorum and we can vote on this item, so. Hearing no discussion or comments, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from September. I have a motion to approve, motion from Alicia, do we have a second? Second from Tammy, perfect, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes, all right. Minutes are approved, that's the only action item we had today. So. The meat of today's meeting, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the coordinated transit plan that was last finalized in 2022. So a bit of background on this plan, it is a federally required document that we put out every 5 years. It kind of goes through all of the regional demographic information and the transit services that are provided throughout the region from all of the providers that are included in our area. And then it's due for an update in December 2027. So we're looking to start work on the next plan in the summer of 26. So this will kind of include going through and setting some new goals. The last time we did this plan, we did a goals workshop, so we'll probably try to do one of those again to make sure that we're identifying any new gaps or issues that people are experiencing. There will be a data collection phase where we'll go through an update on all of that demographic data. And there will also be some outreach, including both a survey to providers to see kind of how you are experiencing the system and the challenges or successes you might want to identify for us. As well as a rider survey that we will distribute to providers to implement at the rider level. However, that's getting started next summer. And between now and then, I wanted to take a look at the plan as it was in 22, kind of revisit some of those goals and strategies that have been identified in that plan. To see if there are any successes, any needles that have been moving in the right direction on those, and if there's anything we feel like we might want to push towards accomplishing between now and when we start the next update. So with that in mind, I do have a handout in the room that goes over the, why is that? That identifies all of the strategies that we have in that plan. For those online, if you access the agenda, there is a link to a copy of the coordinated transit plan. You're going to be looking for pages 30 through 32. In the room we have printout, and I will give everyone about 5 minutes to kind of look through that and review what we had in that previous plan before we open up discussion regarding each of those specific strategies. I know sometimes people don't have a lot of time to look through stuff ahead of the meeting, so it was recommended that we give you guys some time. So I will actually set a timer for 5 minutes for people to review that information. If this is a 5-minute time period that you appreciate, let me know and we can kind of work those in moving forward to future meetings as well. If not, let me know that as well and we'll kind of work that moving forward. So just after 10:45, we'll start our discussion. All right, so, hopefully everybody's had a chance to review. And I've actually got a spreadsheet that I started out here that kind of looks at each of those funding strategies that I was hoping we could kind of just go through line by line and have some discussion. So you'll notice that on that strategy table, there were a couple repetitions in the strategies. That was because we were trying at the time to divide them up between those primary categories of funding, service enhancement, ADA accessibility, enhanced collaboration, and education advocacy. And some of these strategies kind of fit under multiple of those categories. So if we want to start with that first one, so identify grants and funding opportunities for CTC members, including service enhancements and vehicle purchases. I know that we do run the 5310 program. I think this goal was primarily to look at other potential funding opportunities. So I'd like to open it up to the floor to see if anyone has come across any other potential opportunities there, or if this is still something that we're looking at exploring. So I'm not hearing much, so it sounds like this is kind of still a concern for most groups, is that correct? I'm seeing nods in the room. Does anyone online have anything they would like to mention about this one in particular? No? Okay. I'm gonna leave that as not started then, I guess, because it sounds like there isn't really much movement there yet. So the next one that we've got was to raise funds through a special entity developed by the committee for events like Omaha Gives. So this sounds like it would have been a bit of a bigger lift, especially if it was the committee looking to develop some other group for fundraising purposes. Has anyone considered moving down this road? Does it seem like something that is still feasible moving forward? Or if not, is it something that we want to continue investigating or not so much, I guess? Don't everybody speak all at once. Where would the money go? So I think it would be kind of towards identifying another funding source for those gaps in operations and.
Okay, so it wouldn't be used as the other funds, so it'll go towards finding another.
I think it could be either.
Yeah.
But it would go through, like the funds raised by Omaha Gives would go.
I believe so.
Or-
I don't,
We don't know.
that was,
We haven't
that was
really
kind of
got
things,
that
it was
yet.
an idea that was floated as a,
Okay.
yeah, it was floated as a strategy. The last time we updated the coordinated transit plan, and I don't know that we actually explored what the entity would be, because I guess it's possible it could go through the MAPA Foundation. I'm not very familiar with the MAPA
Yeah.
Foundation, but I would rule it out. I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, that, I mean, it just sounds like a really big project. I don't know who would have the bandwidth to put that much energy into it, but, and maybe it's not a big project and I don't know. And I think, I mean, yeah, I could be wrong, excuse me, it didn't appear that the last few years that the funding was the issue, it was the amount of vehicles that was the issue. Like it seemed like we had the money available for the people who were kind of next in line. It was procuring the vehicles themselves, that was the issue.
That
So
was.
I don't know that even the category above the Omaha Gives is necessarily, I mean, more money is always great. Oh, you know, but I don't know that that was even the issue there.
Can those of you online, can you see this spreadsheet all right, or would you like it larger?
You can see it.
Perfect. Thanks, Kim. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, that procurement was our kind of the bottleneck for quite a while. The cost of the vehicles has gone up so much though that, yeah, it might still be, you know, I'm still kind of looking to, like, once we get through the queue of vehicles that some of these vehicles, we're still delivering vehicles that were selected in like 2017. You know, it's like, so it goes pretty far back. Once we get through all of that, I think we'll have a better picture of what the funding's gonna look like going forward. This is also the last year of the current funding law, the transportation funding law through the feds. So we're expecting some kind of changes to formula funds generally, which is 5310 is one of those formula funds. So there are a lot of unknowns.
Okay, and then the change from MAPA to NDOT, would you guys still have the funds, or, I mean?
There's still a portion to the region. So there's an amount that is basically cut out of, so basically like 5310 funds are given to each state. There's an amount that goes to each state, and then within each state, there are carve outs for large metropolitan areas. And so the MAPA area gets a carve out, so that funding must be spent here. How we spend that is kind of up to us, and also kind of up to the states, and, you know, kind of in partnership. So all of that is done through, basically, the efforts of this committee.
Right.
As well as, you know, in conversations with the state entities.
So that money will still come, you guys will still be the carve out for that, not you.
Correct, it's just,
Okay,
the question, what Matt was bringing up is who is primarily responsible for delivering the program? And Matt's position is that we're not really the appropriate entity for delivering the
So it
funding
had
the way
nothing to do
we've
with
done in the
that.
past.
Okay.
The actual amount of funding, assuming that the program continues in the next funding law, I mean, it's been in law for quite a long time now. But you know, like there's a lot of talk about kind of shaking up the way that transportation funding is done. So we really don't know right now how that's gonna look like. I am gonna be meeting with NDOT next week about this transition, but it still remains to be seen exactly how we're gonna handle it. But yeah, the funding amount is, as long as the feds keep it, it will continue to be apportioned to this region.
So then like maybe Omaha gives would maybe be like bridging the gap between what the agencies were used to being paid or paying out themselves. Or
Right, it could be used for local match, especially as the cost
what I
of
mean,
vehicles has
thank you.
gone up. The 20% requirement's not likely to go away.
Oh, I don't think it should.
Sure,
But that 20% is a lot more than it used to be, so I guess
Right,
to be
because
used
the
to
vehicles are
like.
so much more expensive.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, and we haven't done the CTP since the cost of things have gone up.
Right.
Right, so substantially.
Okay.
So, I mean, we had an idea of where they were headed at the time, but they hadn't quite flattened out. Yeah.
I've got a question. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Was there a new limitation with the transition to NDOT where the funds were no longer going to be eligible for service contracts? Or am I just making that up?
Yes, that was a requirement of NDOT, if we're gonna be doing the transition, that's correct.
Okay, so is that going to, well, it's going to potentially create a gap, or are we aware of what the impacts are going to be for the organizations who are getting that money?
I don't think that's been, I don't think I brought that to the committee, like the actual, the total numbers. So that would be something that we'll consider as a new gap being created. If that is the way that we end up going.
Yeah, that just might be a good topic of conversation with this plan update, is understanding, is that gonna impact their ability to offer that service, and could create a bigger need for this group to identify other the strategy number one there, identify grants and funding opportunities for those members. I don't think that the second one, it doesn't seem realistic that this group would create another another entity. Like the management of that does not seem realistic, but the 1 and 2 kind of go back to 1. If this group can identify additional funding sources, MAPA Foundation would be great if that could be somewhere the money could go.
think that makes sense. So it sounds to me then like this one in particular might be not feasible,
Not the way it's stated.
not the way that it's currently stated. Yeah. Okay, but then this one might include things like potential MAPA foundation coordination. But before we go too far down that road, like Court mentioned, like we're not very familiar with how that arm of MAPA works. Carlos, I don't know if you have any other insights on the MAPA Foundation in general, but that would be something we would have to look into.
Yeah, we could talk to Grant. We'll talk more offline.
Okay.
Just keep it noted.
Okay. All right, so the next one we've got here is work as a committee to partner on grants and projects utilizing MAPA staff to apply for grants when applicable. So I guess that goes kind of back to the earlier ones of have there been other grants identified, which would probably be the first step. And I don't think there have been any to my knowledge. But that would be applicable for this group, but.
Yeah, no, not that I know.
Not kind of like from a narrow perspective, like there may have been some. Yeah, I don't think so. Nothing that comes to my mind.
Okay. Anyone online know of any other information that we could add for this one?
Are you talking about the streamlining the delivery process?
No, we were still on the,
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm
applying
sorry,
for
I'm
other
jumping ahead. I'm waiting
Oh,
for that
no.
one.
all good. You're not jumping too far ahead, because that's the next one, so.
It's 5311. I keep hearing that. thrown
It's
out.
like 5310, but for rural areas.
Okay.
So not applicable to this area, but not applicable to the region.
Is that my, just a quick question, because I know it's taking probably longer than we thought. Is that identified by population or how big the city is, or is it a city thing or regional?
So it's similar to 5310, it's a portion to each state.
Okay.
So basically NDOT has full control over the 5311 funding.
But to apply for that, to be considered rural, is that?
Oh, I see.
Sorry. Is it a population?
I think you just have to be outside of what's known as an urbanized area, which is the census designated, which is, yeah, it's population related. The MPOs serve a role in that, so like when there's a new census and they're considering changing the urban area boundary, MAPA is involved in that, so we have input that we provide through kind of our committee processes. We kind of talk about, does this make sense? Should this be larger here, smaller here, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
there is a whole process that goes into it, but there's kind of an initial thing that comes out from the feds based on the census and assumption.
Cass County was reaching out to me asking questions about.
Oh, okay.
And so, this probably isn't the appropriate time to talk about it right now, but that's why I asked, like, is the population, is it distance from medical care versus, or, and it could be both, but.
There's a few things that go into it, a lot of this population, but also kind of like we can make arguments based on the context of what's built there to also suggest that something should probably be within the boundary.
Okay, cool.
There actually used to be a little piece of Cass County that was in MAPA's transportation
Oh,
management
wow.
area, just a little tiny sliver right by the highway. And that was from the 2010 census that went away in the 2020 census. So that's, they're no longer within MAPA's area.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so next one, we've got seek out ways to streamline the process to purchase and deliver paratransit vehicles. Donna, it sounded like you had some comments on this one.
Well, in general, like when we were going through this grant area, I feel like maybe some of us are thinking we didn't talk very much about some of this stuff. And just on my side, when I first was introduced having to come to the CTC meetings, it was very much more focused on 5310 and
Yep.
questions about that. And not that I'm saying other things shouldn't be being discussed, but looking back like in the notes, like the last time we even really talked about 5310 stuff was back in April. So I feel like some of the things that we put together for this haven't been addressed because we focus on other things more. I don't
Yep.
know if other people are feeling that. So I feel like some of these we keep saying not started because they weren't really discussed. And
Yeah,
then
no.
I think the streamlining the process of the buses is part of that 5310 where we all said that we really wanted to focus on getting NDOT involved and talking more at these meetings with us, which I think that hasn't happened. So a lot of this other stuff is going to be, we haven't started.
Right. No, I would agree with that. And I mean, so that's part of the reason that I wanted to take some time today to go through this list, to try and open up those conversations again, because Donnie, you're right, we haven't really touched on most of these since the plan was approved in 2022.
And-
So I know that there are a lot of things in here that are probably bigger lifts than we have capacity to handle over the next 6 months. But I kind of wanted to just open it up for discussion in case there is anything that we have made progress towards, just based on what everyone's kind of been doing at their own agencies. Or if there is opportunity for us to tackle some of these in the next 6 months or so. But with the understanding that, yes, it's definitely been a thing that we haven't discussed over the last several years.
Okay.
But I do also agree that this transfer of the program to NDOT specifically for the purchasing of vehicles would help with that streamline of purchase.
Yes, and there, right now there's a lot of reorganizing over there, and it's just we're not getting a lot of feedback as to how they're changing and who we're supposed to be contacting. And again, if they had just been a part of these meetings all the time over these last 6 months, letting us know that how it's going over there would be helpful.
I'm gonna be meeting with NDOT kind of about this next week. I'm gonna go down to Lincoln and have a chat with them, so I would say, that's something I can add to the list. Specifically, kind of talking about their involvement in the CTC and, maybe try to get them to commit to a certain level of participation.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you have any other comments on that one, or is everybody feeling good and wanted to move on to the next? Okay. So the next one we've got is lending CTC support to the development of transit-related projects in the region. So don't know, there haven't been too many transit-related projects.
So is there a specific project that was going on at the time that we?
I'm not sure,
I can't remember.
so I remember that this got finalized kind of right when I first started at MAPA. So it was like within my first year, I guess, I was still kind of getting, I know, Alicia, that we've brought some metro projects to the committee for feedback. So I don't know if that's kind of what we were getting at,
Or maybe, again, this predates me, but it could also be since CTC is connected to TTAC and TTAC approves the pot. Maybe that's what they were talking about,
yeah, for the pop.
the program for projects.
Oh, like the tip and stuff?
No, it's related, but
Okay.
it's more specific to, it's a little different.
Okay.
Basically, each of the funding programs, like I make the program of projects from 310 before I put in a grant application, and it's basically what's in the tip.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit more specific. They want to see specific things. Mark notes in chat that back when we were doing this, the one call center was still a thing, but that was still kind of the thing that was being kicked around, and that's not as much of it.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't heard any conversations about one call center in quite a while.
Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we had down on like that 211
Yeah.
piece. One call center.
Then there are also, there's been a couple of transit studies that have been going on in our region. I don't know if we brought any of that information to CTC, but we could. Council Bluffs has an active multimodal study going on right now. Bellevue has a study along Fort Crook that's wrapping up. And those could be items that we bring in CTC as well. Yeah.
Well, especially because Fort Rock, for orbit, or for like exploring
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yes.
Especially because,
saying.
but,
I feel like they're always saying, just trying to figure out what to do with it.
Very
Yeah.
interesting room.
It is.
just because like if there was fixed route, then that would also, a paratransit requirement would come with it.
Sure.
So that may be connected to
Yeah.
committee.
So do we want to bring something about Fort Crook to this week, like at the next meeting, or?
Well, I don't know. I guess that is kind of the question. So as we're doing this, the question is that kind of thing something that the committee is interested in?
Right.
In taking a look at? And as of the last coordinated transit plan, I guess committee was, but I think kind of what you're trying to get at is the committee still interested in doing some of this stuff, or have we spread ourselves too thin, you know, what do we focus on? I guess it might depend on what the ask is, like if we're just kind of providing it to the committee as information, that's a pretty simple thing to
That's
do.
fine, yeah.
But if it's more like we want specific comments from the committee
Right.
on these things, that's a little bit more of a lift. And I don't know if the committee wants to do that, but I would be happy to bring this stuff kind of like to the committee as, or, you know, regular updates. That wouldn't be that bad. The Fort Crook study is almost done, so that's almost like kind of
More of a
Yeah, that's
presentation of here's what
reminder.
happened. Yeah.
The Council Bluffs multimodal environmental study, that's still ongoing.
And I feel like bringing updates would be beneficial, and then the committee at that point maybe say, oh, we're interested in this specific. one. You know,
that makes
and
sense.
this is something that appeals to all of us. Cause I don't know how many Omaha agencies care about Fort Crook and Bellevue, you know, depending on what it is. But like you said, if it ends up bringing in more fixed routes of transportation, then of course, but if it's just something that affects Bellevue, then nobody else is really.
Well, we're a collective region.
That's true.
Nobody operates in isolation.
Right, well, I know, but I mean, I feel like a lot of times they come here and it's all Omaha,
Yeah.
you know, so sometimes it's like, yeah, well, obviously, so it's like, well, like, I like discussions like this because sometimes it does feel like this doesn't apply.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, and I wonder if like. There's nobody here really, but like a pavilion, I know they're alive, but I have to look around. And like if a pavilion feels the same or Ralston or anything, that sometimes, well, maybe not Ralston, because you guys are super close, but. Yeah, sometimes.
And I think that's kind of one of the things that we're trying to improve on,
Absolutely.
more of
No,
like,
and I noticed that too.
Yeah. cause it is a coordinated transit committee,
Right.
so we're kind of trying to remind everyone that that's kind of what the goals are, and we wanna be making sure that we're coordinating across jurisdictional boundaries a little bit better.
Yeah.
and Stuff
We
like that.
want it to be useful,
Yes,
and, you know, I know that 5310 is kind of the glue that holds everything together for the committee, because that's what, you know, everybody's interested in. Making sure that they have access to that funding, but if there's other things that the committee is interested in doing, things that would be useful or, you know, topics of discussion, that's really what we wanna make sure that
capturing.
facilitate. So if something's not useful, I think that's really what we wanna know. What of this is useful versus not really? And, you know, we can have lofty goals, but when it comes to actually getting some of the work done,
Yeah, and
what do we?
I think for the majority of the people who have Omaha. Agencies, a lot of, like, when we used to have the speakers come in. That offered different things, 90% of those, they didn't even look at Sarpy County. But for everybody else, it was super useful information.
Hmm.
You know, so I think, I mean, sometimes majority just have rules.
it's important to identify voices that are.
Oh, you're so good on this.
Okay, so if this is useful, then this is something that we can kind of look at.
Yeah.
In the next 6 months and kind of bring some information for everyone to digest and get some feedback on, things like that, so we'll mark that as still useful. I added new categories that seemed better. All right. Okay, so next thing we've got listed, does anybody have any other comments on this transit related projects within the committee piece? Hearing none, we'll go on to develop regional bus training. So I'm not really sure what all that entails. Those are the only words that were identified in the plan. So I was hoping to get some feedback from the group on what this might mean or what it might entail, or if this is something that's kind of just beyond the capacity of this group.
Well, if I remember right, I think we were trying to talk about some of the training that is offered through, not necessarily it's NDOT, but it's Mitch, who was with Carney. Is it Carney? Does anybody else know who I'm talking about? Who does the bus training?
I think I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So you know, you can go out to the NDOT site and sign up for this training, and a lot of them are in other places in Nebraska, and there's not a lot of Omaha classes. We did, I think, one here. And then also, I had asked Mitch, because none of my bus drivers had gone through securement training on the wheelchairs. So he came out and did a class for us that was not listed. And like I'm pretty sure I invited Bellevue and La Vista, but they couldn't make it. But things like that, where it seems like Mitch was more than able to do this for us, and the more people we would have doing it would make it worth his while. So I know I did it by asking him to make another class that wasn't already listed. And I just think if we can, again, increase our relationship with NDOT to let them know that these are things that we would like to see. It's not just about purchasing a bus. We need to keep our bus drivers trained as well.
Yep. So I guess in that regard, are there any particular training needs that members are experiencing would be beneficial to get some kind of training into the region? And if so, is there potential to coordinate with Mitch to bring something in the next 6 months to a year, I guess? Donna, when was that securement training that you guys did?
Oh, well, at least a year and a half ago.
Looks like they do have an advanced wheelchair securement course, that's 2 hours. I would imagine some.
Yeah, and that's probably the one that he came and did in our building, instead of making us go to, you know, some of the places are 2 to 6 hours away from here.
Yeah.
I think we would even have people who would be interested.
Yeah.
Maybe we could host it here.
It's on refreshers equal motivation for the drivers too,
Yeah.
you know, it just really goes for all of us, everybody excited to do their job.
Yeah. So is it sounding like that's something people might have capacity for?
I would be interested.
And La Vista and Bellevue, do you guys go through NDOT and Mitch for your training, or do you use something else?
I have been using, gosh, I can't remember the name of it, it's where we have all our drug testing done. There's a guy there that comes, and he mainly talks to the drivers, he's a physical therapist too. So he talks to them about how to lift, how to help people, how to, like, just use your body so you're not getting hurt. That's the most recent one I've done.
Yeah.
I've never done anything with the state, or NDOT, but I'd be interested in it too.
We've also
then
not
it's
done
also
anything
like-
with this.
Go ahead, Kaylee, sorry.
We've also not done anything with the state. We've provided the wheelchair securement trainings ourselves. We do not lift anyone, however, that's part of our policies.
And your trainings, do they come from some kind of a
There's
transit or do you?
there's documentation that came with the buses regarding the queue strength system and how those are supposed to be set up regarding angles, anchor points, and that kind of thing for wheelchairs.
So you just do your own. So is NDOT for anybody, do they require us to meet certain requirements in order to get the buses and or the federal is it FTA? Do they require any requirements on this?
I don't know if there are. I don't know that there are training requirements around.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's more around. Like the nature of the service, the maintenance of the vehicles. I don't think that there are training requirements.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
And Donna, do you know if there's a cost associated with getting NDOT to come out to put on one of these classes?
No, it did not cost anything. And I think when I went through, even if you had to go like to the Western Nebraska or any of those classes, I think you could put in for them to actually cover the cost of hotels and stuff, staying.
Nice.
It does look like I found this link online, it does look like there's a couple of classes, so even if the trainer is traveling here, like maybe it would be worth the agencies picking a few topics and doing like a full day training or something.
Oh, sure.
It's harder to commit to a full day, but
Right,
if that person's traveling here, maybe.
like full day or a half day.
Mhm.
So that always comes down then to the capacity piece, so. I mean, Alicia, you've been doing some Googling.
Yeah.
Does it sound like something you'd be interested in kind of looking at and then putting on offer if it's something Metro would be interested in being a host organization for? And then other partners could come and send drivers if interested.
Yeah, I can at least float the idea for training and operations departments.
Kaylee, do you think that's something that you guys would be interested in attending, or are you mostly interested in doing the training that you have been doing internally?
Yes, we'd be interested in attending.
And we definitely have the facility to do it, so.
Great, okay. We have an action item signed. Whoop. Come on up.
I don't know, it said that they have a facility,
I think Papillion said they have facilities for training.
which would be good to then be center Omaha.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so that's.
Yeah, and if there was any like like the wheelchair, when we did ours, on the restraint training, we actually pulled the bus into our facility, so we didn't even have to be outside. I think it was during the winter time, so we are able to do that too if we need to pull a bus in and have training on a bus.
Nice. Cool. All right, sounds good. So do you have any other comments on that potential for regional bus training? I think that's been a lot of good discussion and opportunity for that one. So the next one we've got is make a priority to have a rider or client at every CTC meeting. I think when this plan was put together, that was before Melanie had joined the committee. So I know there's been discussion about making sure there are other clients as well to kind of get a broader perspective. But I think that one's been decently successful, at least with our one. So I don't know if others have thoughts on that one. We'll move down to the next one then, so I think this is getting on that one call center piece that had been discussed several years ago. One of the potential strategies was considering the use of 211 as a unified location for transportation resource information. I'm just gonna open it up for initial thoughts from the group on that. Without biasing anything.
You know, I had 211 come present,
Yeah,
and I thought that was helpful.
Yeah.
They said that transportation that continues to be one of the top requests, so at least like making sure that everyone here has their information correct for 211. So that when they're like giving out referrals. It's the right place.
right. So as a part of the plan update, we do go through and kind of update that inventory of services provided throughout the region. Again, this plan's not due until 27, so if there's something we could hit sooner in, I don't know how much contact y'all have directly with 211 and making sure that the information they have is up to date. But that might be something that we could take a look at.
Could be an annual. Like honestly, it's probably something we should do annually. Revisit that. Basically just ask all the members, is your information correct?
I know that we use it at like the thing that we put together, like we use it if people are applying for MOPI service and they're out of the service area but are looking for other options.
Right.
That's usually where we'll direct people to.
So that's something that we could probably look at doing as MAPA staff, given that we're gonna need to include that in the plan updates anyway. I don't know, does anyone on the call have more direct contact with 211? Doesn't sound.
Are you just looking
yeah.
for like transportation information or
Yeah.
like people that? Because I communicate with a woman named Joanne. I can find her, but I don't think that I don't know what she does there.
Okay.
I can put her, when I find her, I'm gonna look for her email, put it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Courtney, you got that? So it sounds like using them as like a call center is probably not feasible, but we can make steps to make sure that they have accurate referral information. Yeah. Still useful. Or I'll put it as not feasible, but I'm gonna highlight this because it's kind of gonna shift what we're gonna do with it a little bit. All right, so engage in collaboration with peer cities. So I think that's kind of looking outside of our region as opposed to within it. Is that something that the group would still find valuable? Is there anyone in particular you would like to maybe invite to a meeting or kind of look at a share of information as to how they run their programs? We do this with our MPO pretty regularly, where we will have like site visits and go down to other regions and take a look at how they're doing stuff. I don't know if like the getting up and going somewhere else is necessarily feasible for this group, but we could have someone attend virtually, give a presentation on how their program works in their city, things like that. Open to other discussion and thoughts.
I would be interested in that. Donna and I, especially when she first started, talked back and forth and just bounced ideas off of each other, compared to contrasting. It was helpful, I thought.
One thing actually that I've been hearing from committee members too is that especially now that we've got a lot of new faces in the room, it could be beneficial for all of the agencies within the group to kind of do like a 5-minute, this is who we are, this is what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Presentation, just so that everyone's kind of a little more familiar with the resources that are available in the region. So I could see that as being something of value as well, if that would be of use to those in the room and online.
Yes.
I think that would be really helpful, especially to some of the new folks like me.
Great.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do that too, and if it needed to be in person, that's good too.
Okay. Cool. That actually goes well into what I was hoping we might be able to do for January. So I don't know if the holidays are the right time or if we want to push that off to, if we're doing quarterly meetings, our next meeting would be in January. And then the one following wouldn't be until April. So at one of those 2 meetings, I think it would be great to spend the meeting just at, like, especially if we don't have any other action items that we need to address at the time. If I kind of gave everybody like a presentation list of 2 or 3 questions for people to put together, information to share with the group, and we could do like a round robin, everybody gets 5 minutes thing, that might be fun.
Yeah.
Fun and helpful.
Yeah, he seems the most excited about it.
Oh, no. So actually, that's not in there, but this would be in here. Cool. And if there are questions that you guys have about how things are run at other agencies, like maybe you could send those to me and I can kind of compile them into like, here are the top 3 things that we want people to hit in their presentations, and then we can plan on doing that for January. Would be cool. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on this engaging with peer cities piece? Moving on, it looks like we've got reactivate CTC subcommittees. So honestly, I don't even know what CTC subcommittees were. I can't remember. No.
The only CTC subcommittee I know about is for project selection.
Right, the 53 project selection.
Selection committee, but I don't remember there being other subcommittees,
Yeah.
but there may have been. I don't think we had any since I've been that, so. They may have predated me, there must have been some conversation about that. But
yeah.
I'm not familiar with any subcommittees.
So I guess instead of reactivating, are there subcommittees that this group would like to have, I guess, would be the next question? Or do we want to just mostly keep it at this level? I'm not always a fan of making committees for the sake of making more committees, so that's my 2 cents, but I will pose it to the group if it is a thing that is of strong interest to anybody, we could start looking into it.
No man.
I got a no man from Amanda, so.
I'll second that no.
And a seconded no man from Lisa. Any other thoughts from those online? Oh, okay. I'm gonna mark that as no longer useful then. All right. Increase CTC involvement in TTAC, PROSCOM, and Heartland 2050 meetings. So just in case others aren't entirely aware of what these groups are, So T-TAC is kind of the governing committee of this group. So this group.
This is a subcommittee.
Yeah, so this group is a subcommittee of T-TAC. So T-TAC is our Technical Transportation Advisory Committee. They meet once a month. They go through a lot of what we do at MAPA in general. A lot of our federally required performance metrics, project selection, general regional planning, deliverables and things. So that is T-TAC. I think there has been discussion of maybe having a member of CTC present at those meetings,
And
just to.
there has been, I would say there's been an uptick
Yeah.
in that. Rich and Melanie have tried to get to CDC meetings, even just virtually.
Or to TTAC meetings,
Or
yeah.
TTAC meetings, yeah, just to kind of see what's going on. They're not there every month, but they have been.
I've been to 2 of them and they're so far over my head, I have no idea what is happening.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair.
I mean, a lot of times this is even over my head. But I was like, what? Cause there's another city representative from the planning department that goes to,
Yeah.
so oftentimes I'll run into him and be.
Yeah.
And he'll try to explain it, I'm like, never mind.
But that's fair. Sorry.
I don't.
But yeah,
If you attend one and you have some questions and you don't feel like asking in the meeting.
No, I
you
would
always-
never.
You can shoot.
Okay.
yes. Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I would be happy to kind of go through some of that stuff, cause I know we're often cramming a whole bunch of stuff into an agenda. And so I'm not really explaining jargon.
Cause it's usually like a lot of
It's
times the
very
things on the
fast.
agenda are things that most people in the room are already at least somewhat familiar with, which is why it kind of moves at the pace that it does.
Got it, okay, that makes sense.
They know the acronyms. they
Yeah,
know they-
exactly.
like they're-
Yeah.
I'm Googling and they're
Yeah.
off on a new.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, like we're always available for questions
Okay.
and stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that one's T-TAC. PROSCOM is our project selection committee, which is another T-TAC subgroup that looks at funding what are called FTBG projects. So those are Surface Transportation Block Grant projects. A lot of them are roadway resurfacing. There are some planning efforts that go through that through different streams under STBG. So for example, we have several like active mobility plans that have been funded through sub things of STBG. There was also like the Fort Crook Transit Study, so there I think has been interest in maybe getting a CTC member involved with those committees, because that is where all of the project selection, like the bulk of MAPA's project selection happens. It's our biggest funding source. And it would be beneficial, I think, to have that transit perspective in the room. I know we do usually have Metro present at a lot of things, so that's another opportunity at PROSCOM. And then Heartland 2050 meetings, that's like a whole big suite of other committees. So I feel like I almost should have just pulled up the map of all of MAPA's.
Yeah, you might have to share this.
Yeah.
You know, this might be a little,
Yeah, it might get a little noodly. So, I mean, I can pull it up, it'll take a minute to grab the.
I guess the first question
Yeah.
is whether the CTC is interested in this. In learning more about the different committees.
That MAPA has, just
Yeah,
generally.
that's question one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
curious.
Okay.
okay.
So I can actually send out some information after this meeting then, that kind of breaks down what our committees are, kind of how they're structured and what kinds of things they talk about.
I think I always put MAPA and Metro together for some reason. Do people do that often?
Yes.
Thank God, okay.
We're saying,
Yeah,
Well, not just that, yeah.
but yeah, we are very separate. Yeah, like there's not.
I like
it. Separate organ.
Okay.
Now, Metro is a member of MAPA.
Okay,
So
that makes a lot more
Metro
sense.
is at least from kind of a small. Metro has some level of governance, I guess you could say, over MAPA as a member. Is there a
Okay,
member?
cause back in the day, Metro had
Cause you all
this.
like to have the
right?
unified work.
I think maybe when they were doing. the-
Yeah. Metro, so they gave it to MAPA.
I think so.
Maybe.
I think that's how it went, but I'm not actually sure.
Okay,
I don't
that was
know more
before all
about
of
the
this
history
was.
before I started, but when I started, MAPA had that program.
Okay.
So, Yeah.
Really strong and collaborative partners.
Yes, very strong and collaborative. Exactly. This is why we keep you around.
It's not the only one.
Oh, many, many, many.
The best landlords you can ask.
That too.
If only we could get you door access.
Yeah, so it goes. But yeah, so there are, oh, that's in the wrong spot. So there are, safe to say, there are a bunch of other MAPA committees that look at different things. Having transit perspective at those meetings could be helpful. Most of them are open to the public anyway, so it doesn't even necessarily need to be like a formal involvement situation, but we could send out more information to everyone about what those meetings are, what kinds of things they talk about, and then you can decide if you would like to check them out. If you think that it's something that CTC should be more formally involved in, or what have you. What is happening? My God. Okay, I wasn't even on that tab, I was on this tab. Okay. It's freaking out on me. But yeah, so that's kind of, I think, what we can do with that one.
Can at least explore.
What? That is not what I clicked. This is freaking out. I don't know why, and I apologize for that, but
The Wi-Fi is laggy.
yeah. Okay, increased meeting attendance and virtual options. So we did just update our bylaws to allow for virtual voting on non-financial issues. So I think that, and I think we've generally expanded these to be more hybrid in nature than they used to be, for sure. I haven't actually looked at the attendance to see if that's impacted our attendance rates over the last 5 years or not, but
I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to tell yet,
that's probably true.
but I mean, honestly, virtual attendance has been pretty good the whole time. It's mostly just that we had that restriction on voting, so that's what makes it kind of challenging, but. I mean, it is nice to get people in the room, but also, you know, we understand it's not always possible to make that happen. Yeah, I think we really appreciate that folks do try to get online at least, you know, kind of getting that into their schedules, but. Yeah, honestly, we might be able to say, I was gonna say, we'd probably say we did it.
Yeah, we did it. Hey, we did it. Perfect.
We did this thing.
Alright. I think there is still interest in kind of expanding the membership of CTC to get more people involved that way.
Yeah, there's, I don't remember what the total number of available memberships is.
We can go up to 24, I think, and we're at like 10.
Yeah, right, so there used to be a lot more members of the committee. It has waned primarily since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Membership,
What's that?
the membership.
Membership. This thing is lagging and jumping and we're doing our best. Alright, no thanks, I don't
It's
know what you
your own
are.
stuff.
Yes, there's only 3 more. Alright, does anybody else have any other comments on this meeting attendance and virtual meeting options? Okay, then I will move on to the next one. Use new communication technology and social media to promote and collaborate. That is a very vague and jargony strategy, so I'm not really sure. Does anybody have any initial thoughts on this one? No. It was meant to be under education and advocacy.
What is new communication technology?
Not sure.
It could just be, when was this written?
22.
A CTC Discord server.
I feel like that was when like virtual stuff really started.
Yeah,
I think so.
Like,
Yeah.
What this is
But
talking
it
about.
might be duplicative of the one file.
And then I think we were also, this was kind of a twofold, this was both collaboration amongst the committee members, but then also like kind of getting burnout via social media, I don't know, like.
Yeah.
Having the CTC social media presence, I don't know, it sounds a little far-fetched.
It does.
But I think we might have been more starry-eyed back then.
Yeah. Anybody have any other comments on this one? I could probably just mark it as not feasible. I mean, not feasible isn't really necessarily the
Yeah.
classification I would give it so much as this doesn't seem like an actionable thing. And we'll make sure that when we do our updates, that our strategies are a little more actionable for the next one. Any other thoughts on communication technology and social media? Then we've got develop and regularly update the transportation resource guide. So I think the last time we did that was when we did this plan. And that was like a brochure that kind of outlined a bunch of different service providers, contact information. The challenge with something like this in print media is that like phone numbers change. And so they can get pretty out of date pretty quickly. Think one opportunity for this would be just to move it online. And then we could still have a print version available periodically, we can reprint it, but have it be more like a living resource. Cheaper.
I like that. Yeah. I think we did make some minor updates after the
Yeah,
NADTC equity summit.
yeah, we did update it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it is available. I don't know if actually, you provided the link.
Which NADTC does not exist anymore.
And an ETC doesn't exist anymore. Oh, wow.
The FTA discontinued their cooperative agreement.
Oh, I didn't know that. Carlos put it in the chat. Alright, so it looks like we do have it online already. Look how great we are, you guys. So we put this online and we have completed this strategy.
But I think having like maybe a regular review schedule would be good.
And I mean, this can be part of when we get that services inventory put together, we can update this as well.
We could also look at it from the lens of like
Accessibility.
making sure that.
So I don't know how
there's a-
friendly this is
yeah.
to like reading,
Especially with the
assistance.
new rule coming
yeah,
into effect.
okay. So it looks like, so it is online already. But it could warrant regular review, more regular review.
And making sure, because there is a downloadable PDF.
Yeah.
On that site, so making sure the two match.
I'm gonna say we did it, good job. Well done, everyone. And I mean, completed, not necessarily like forever, but it's a thing that we addressed. And it is always room for improvement and continued work. All right, so. There we go. Then on the last one, we've got develop training for elected officials and transit entities on how to ride transit as someone with a disability. Thoughts on this last one?
Elected officials?
Yeah.
That's what's hanging me up.
Yeah, cause you brought us on the bus,
Mhm.
or a couple,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of shows, shows what it was like. I feel like that would fall under something like that. I am by no means an elected.
Yeah, I think
And fixed route.
it was both, like, members wanted kind of like, experience with, riding transit, but then, I kind of remember a conversation around the elected official piece, but it was basically like you getting decision makers more involved in public transportation. I think that was That was, or at least part of the idea. Making sure they understand the needs and issues faced by users of public transportation.
Which I think is always good. I don't know that we have the capacity to take that up.
Does that seem reasonable to others? There's definitely something that we could look into a bit more if there are opportunities, but unclear if it's something that this group would want to take on. Any thoughts online?
I think for Bellevue, it'd be one of those, our elected officials would come here when they wouldn't need public transportation here, but these, yeah, oh, well, watch that. Probably recorded, Bellevue does not have many options, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, if there aren't any other comments, then that's all I had for this item here. I think that was a lot of really good discussion. I think we have some great things to look at over the next few months that we can get started on, which is very exciting. Just a quick side note, on the CTP development moving forward is that there will be an outreach portion of this plan. So we will be looking to do like a rider or client survey as well as just a survey out to all providers. So I guess my first question to those in the room is, do you currently do client rider surveys? Is the first question. I know that Metro does run one every 5 years or so. Online, do any of you guys run rider surveys?
No.
No, I haven't.
Tammy just did one.
Yeah. You said you just did one?
Yeah, we did it in January.
January. Oh,
January, February.
okay,
They just fixed her.
just fix road, okay.
She did it all by herself.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You like went on the buses today?
I know.
Nice, well done, well done. Cool, cool. So if there are agencies that do run these surveys, so Metro and Council Bluffs, I would love to get a copy of the questions that you use on those surveys.
It does as well.
Was that what it does?
That's what it is.
Yes, perfect. So if those of you who do run these surveys could send me a copy of the survey questions that you use. It would be great for us to try and not reinvent the wheel if a lot of these surveys are already being done. But then try to see how we can push a lot of those questions out to other providers that might not currently be conducting those kinds of surveys. For the last plan iteration, they did do a rider survey, but I think they only got like 68 total responses on that survey, which is not terrible. But if we can bump that to get some more perspective, I think that would be really helpful. I'm kind of toying with the idea of a driver survey. I don't know if that's something that people would be interested in. We'd have to kind of look at what kinds of questions we might want to ask, but that is a tool that we could use if people see benefit in that and have particular information they might want to try and collect from their drivers. But yeah, so this is kind of just an initial start thinking about what might be coming down the pike in the next year or so. Great, so that's all I had for coordinated transit plan. Any further comments, questions, concerns about that before we go to the next thing on the agenda? Cool. Thanks, everybody. Super helpful. No, that was a really good discussion. So I think we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to in the next few years. So real quick through the rest of our agenda here, Melanie was not able to attend today, but she did say that for LR 251, which is Nebraska resolution that was proposed last year, on an interim study to examine the adequacy and accessibility of transportation options for people with disabilities in Nebraska. It was introduced by Senator Becerra, and he is pushing for a public hearing on this resolution, but it sounds like there's opposition from within the Transportation Committee to have a public hearing. So this is just us passing information on to you, that if this is something you would like to see a public hearing for, there is an opportunity to reach out to members of the Transportation Committee or their chair. So Mike Moser is the chair of that committee. His email's up on this, so this is just information I am relaying from Melanie on kind of where that is sitting right now. So if you have any questions, I will do my best to try and answer them, but otherwise, Melanie is probably the point of contact for that one. Next thing, any additional business? So I guess we'll open it up for public comment. I don't think we have any members of the public here or online, or is that right? Okay. So any additional business that anybody would like to bring up, now is your chance to do so. Hearing none. Any member agency updates? So the idea for this one is once we get, so we do have about 7 minutes left. Alicia, you said you looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna share, we have some public meetings coming up next week for some proposed service changes. Increases, some minor ones, but so we'll be doing a virtual meeting on Monday from 12 to 1, and then we'll be at the Exarban Transit Center answering questions from 3 to 6 on Thursday. So there will be changes to Route 4, 5, 13, 15, and 55.
Service increases.
Yeah, some minor ones. So we're adding an extra trip on the 4. So the 30-minute frequency in the evening will be extended for a little bit longer, and then the end time will be a little bit longer. The 13, we're extending another trip. This is just during weekday. The 5, we're adjusting the time points for several benefits, including more time at the transit centers, but then also to align better with Northwest afternoon dismissal. And then the 15 and 55, we're removing the inner line, and the 55 will be every 30 minutes during the week, during peak, so. Finally at a place where we could do a little bit of adding back in.
Cool. So when we do these agenda items in some other committees, usually we kind of just go around the room, and then if you have any updates, you can provide those updates. If you don't, you just say no updates for me for this month, and then we can kind of open the floor up in case anybody has any info they'd like to share with the group. So we can do it inside first. I don't know, Bellevue, you got any updates? No updates. No updates. Public schools. You guys just like in the heat of starting school back up, so how's that?
Yeah, we're kind of slowing down with that. Our biggest thing is we're still not fully staffed, so we're coming up with different ways to find non-CDL vehicles, because finding and retaining CDL drivers is tough, as we all know. But so we've found 9 passenger vehicles, and we're utilizing a lot of minivans that to transport students to school. So I think if we can kind of grow that program or grow that need, or fill that need for non-CDL drivers, I think we'll be in better shape for next year.
So our contract with SWITA ended for our paratransit services on September 30th. October 1st, our new provider VIA started. VIA also does the Metroplex for
On Zoom call, but you've come in.
That's all. Okay, cool, thanks. Online, do we have any agency updates from anyone?
No
Pavilion does,
updates from La Vista.
no updates from Pavilion.
None from Pavilion, none from La Vista?
Um,
Any
I do. It's Tina from Together. It's more housing related, but I just wanted to give everybody all the information. We had been running the stability clinic with ERA funding, and that is now gone. So starting November 3rd, we'll have walk-in hours at our pantry for our housing stability clinic. So people can come in and still get connected to coordinated entry, but still have those housing problem solving conversations to try to stabilize the households.
Thanks, Ina. Any other member agency updates from online? Okay. Well, in that case, got a list here of some upcoming meetings, through MAPA. Our next TTAC meeting is this Friday, at 10 a.m. in the Metro Transit Boardroom. So we talked a bit today about kind of what TTAC is and what kinds of things they go over. So if anyone's interested, there is a virtual option for that one. If you feel like logging in, or if you want to come down and hang out with us for an hour, that's also totally open, to anybody who wants to join. Our board of directors meeting is gonna be next Thursday at 1:30 in the Metro Transit Boardroom, so come here. RPAC, so that's our Regional Planning Advisory Committee. That's one of the Heartland 2050 ones that I didn't quite get to and we were reviewing today. But they're kind of like a bit of a broader perspective group. And they're gonna be meeting next on December 5th. I'm not quite sure if that location is correct, because usually we try to have that be like a joint RPAC TTAC meeting, just because they fall on the same day anyway. And it's good to kind of get the conversations going between our groups, so that might be a bit of a bigger meeting on December 5th, and I'll probably follow up with some more information on that as well. And then the next CTC meeting is gonna be in January, so we won't see you guys until after the holiday season, so I'll say happy holidays. I'll make sure to send out some more info today on kind of the strategies that we discussed. And then otherwise, I think that's all I have, so motion to adjourn. So completion motions, I don't think we need a second for motions to adjourn, but I'm not sure, but if we need a second, looks like Amanda's ready to say.
I'm in.
Done, awesome, so then we're all set, so thank you guys so much, and we'll see you again in January.
Thank you.